Hello everyone, welcome back into a video. So, for those who watched that G4 reboot, ha ha ha, I got some bad news for you. As it turns out, it's being shut down. Like we all saw it coming. But I have to say this before we get into the article. Let me say this. For those who just lost their jobs, you can't feed your families, I feel for you, and I hope you all land on your feet. It's tough out there, especially now that everything's going up in prices all the time. It's ridiculous how that is, but it is what it is, so I feel for you, and I hope you all land on your feet as soon as possible. I really do. So without further ado, let's get into the article. After massive layoffs less than a year after its return, Comcast video game-centric TV and online network is shutting down, according to a report from Deadline citing an internal email from Dave Scott, who is the Comcast Spectator CEO. Over the past few months, we worked hard to generate interest in G4, but viewership is low and the network has not achieved sustainable financial results. I'll get into that later. This is certainly not what we hoped for, and as a result, we made the very difficult decision to discontinue G4's operations, effective immediately. While G4 has struggled throughout 2022, the shutdown itself was sudden. The Washington Post viewed another email sent Sunday from Joe Marsh to employees that informed staff that G4's LA facility would be closed until October 18th, which is Tuesday, and that all streams were postponed, but it did not mention the network shut down. Additionally, former employees who requested to be anonymous because of NDAs told the Post that staff were locked out of internal communication services like Slack and Google Drive, without immediate explanation. This came after crew from Arena, a show produced as part of a crucial deal with WWE, quit last week. G4 is Comcast's attempt at reviving a network from the early 2000s. I mentioned what televised video game coverage and entertainment could look like years ahead before content creators on YouTube and Twitch began amassing millions of viewers. Despite repeated attempts at bringing said creators in the fold, shows such as Name Your Price were hosted by Twitch stars like Austin Show, who has not publicly divulged his full name. The network never found its footing when competing against individual influencers who themselves were inspired by G4's original 2002 to 2014 run.
No shit.
I mean, come on, like, if anybody really paid attention to the current landscape today, I mean, come on, who saw this like, it was so obvious that G4 wasn't gonna last. I mean, just look at the content they were making, like, what were you getting on G4 you couldn't get anywhere else? Like, what were you getting? Like, nothing unique, really. I mean, if you really think about it, if you have, like, a good webcam, some decent lights, and a phone, you can make the content that G4 was making, if not better. So, what was G4 making? And they were covering, like, really old games. Like, why not cover, like, the new releases and all that? When it comes to, like, making reviews and all that. It didn't make sense. Like, G4 didn't stand out at all. So it's like, no, it shouldn't be a surprise to anyone that they didn't last at all. And it's not surprising, really. You can only, latch on to nostalgia for so long before people get tired of it and move on. It's not surprising, really. But anyway, continuing. Expenses for guest talent appear to have played a role in the closure. According to multiple employees interviewed by the Post, some high-level creators demanded day rates of $25,000 to $30,000 when invited to appear as guests on G4.
What? What the fuck?
Bruh. 25 to 30,000. Wow, that is insane. 25 to $30,000 just to appear on a freaking show. That is insane. That's ludicrous, man. Gee, no wonder why they weren't getting financial, results that they wanted. Gee, I wonder why. Wow, that's unreal. That is insane. Wow. Anyway, continuing. Several events presaged G4's demise. The nosedive that culminated Sunday began with then-President Russell Aaron's exit G4 at the end of August. In September, G4 laid off more than 20 crew members, many of who worked on shows like Video Game Review and Commentary X-Play. A week later, Kotaku reported that one of the revived most prominent faces, Inyana Frost Black, the infamous sexism rant, who also infamously was bragging on Twitter when those layoffs happened that she wasn't laid off, only for her to get fired a week later. Karma's a bitch. But anyway, shit was no longer with the network. Later that same month, Kevin Pereira, one of the biggest names to come out of the original run of Geek Culture Fighter program Tackle the Show, who also hosts this reboot, also departed. In Sonny's memo, Scott expresses regrets. I know this is disappointing news. I'm disappointed too. I want to thank you and everyone on the G4 team for the hard work and commitment to the network. Sure, it was like hard work and all that. I imagine it wasn't easy. But, like I said earlier, what were they offering that would stand out? Like, nothing really. And not even the full cast of G4 came back. Only Adam Sessler, who wasn't even in the office most of the time, and Kevin Pereira. So, like, again, what were they offering that would make it stand out? Like, I can't think of anything that would make it stand out. I mean, the fact that the most amount of attention G4 got was the infamous rant. That's pretty sad. Like, it's really pretty sad when you think about just how much nostalgia people have for G4. That is abysmal. That should tell you how much of a failure this was. It's because they were pandering on nostalgia, and, obviously people moved on very quickly after it wore off. I mean, really. And just when you thought it couldn't get any worse, employees actually didn't find out that this was going on. They had to find out through a freaking social media like Twitter. As the completionist wrote, "Hey, this tweet is how I found out I lost my job. How neat."
Oh my god! Stop!
Not only was the G4 reboot a failure, they also failed again by failing to tell their employees that they lost their job. Wow, like, just when you thought it couldn't get worse, then this happens. Unreal. Like, you didn't even, like, these executives over there, they didn't even have the balls to tell their employees that they were shutting down. They couldn't tell them, like, right to their face, like a media or something. Like, they had unreal. Imagine finding out you lost your job through a freaking toxic website like Twitter. Unreal. That is insane. That is so shitty in the worst way possible. Unreal. It's absolutely disgusting how they handled this. It was handled so poorly. Wow, like, imagine finding, like I said before, imagine finding out you lose your job, but you had to find out through social media. Like I said at the beginning of the video, I hope the employees land on their feet and, move past this, because it is such a shitty situation for everyone involved. Like, wow, not even a full year, and it's all shutting down, and G4, don't come back. The world doesn't need you to come back for a third time. It doesn't need it. And the quick shutdown, it's not surprising, really. At the end of the day, it's not shocking. So anyway, I think that's all I gotta say on this topic. What do you guys think? Let me know down in the comment section below. And if you like this video, hit that like button and hit that sub button so you do not miss any more videos. And I'll see you all in the next one. Have a good one.